A North American remake of the hit Asian film The Raid has been in development for some time, with Frank Grillo and Taylor Kitsch attached to star, and Expendables 3 director Patrick Hughes on board to helm the Screen Gems release. However, troubled times have hit the production, as reports claim that Taylor Kitsch has left the project, as well as director Patrick Hughes. On top of that, it's now being claimed that Screen Gems has dropped the project as well, and is now no longer interested in distributing the film. Mark Barsell that we will ever see a remake of The Raid.
Well, it'd be weird for Frank Grillo to show up for work and nobody else is there. He's like, "Are we not raiding today?"
But Purge 3, son. We're doing Purge 3. Yeah.
I would love to see a Purge 3 more so than a remake of The Raid. You don't need to remake that movie. We're talking about remaking Jumanji, where that's a 20-year-old film and you can update the effects. There's nothing you need to update about The Raid or The Raid 2 for that matter. You should not do this. I get the idea initially where it's a small Indonesian movie and we're going to take it and do a different version and blow it up in America, but that movie took off on its own here in America. We do not need a different Raid. We just need the kick-ass one that we already have.
Plus, we already had an American Raid. It was called Dread. So it's like that was the American version of The Raid. And they're totally two different movies. And I agree completely. I'm so happy I sell or buy whatever it is that stops this Raid remake from happening. I don't want to see the Raid remake. I already saw the Raid. It was only made a few years ago. Then I saw the Raid 2, which blew my mind, which also doesn't need to be remade. You just need to go see it and get it and rent it right now. It's incredible. The Raid and the Raid 2.
Part of me wants them to try to remake The Raid just to prove that you don't always have to remake movies, because there's no way you're going to be able to top what The Raid did. You can't do it differently, because then you don't call it The Raid. Frank Grillo, I think, is great. Taylor Kitsch is not on the project anymore, and maybe even Screen Gems isn't. So I think this is a great move to not remake The Raid.
Yeah. Nonsense. I mean, look, we can talk about how great The Raid is and how great The Raid 2 is, but the fact of the matter is nobody saw them. Nobody saw them. In relation to Hollywood standards, nobody saw them. I mean, we've seen them. I'm sure a lot of people in our live chat port have seen them, but as far as the vast majority of moviegoers in North America, nobody's seen it. And unfortunately, and this is a shame, because of the language barrier, because of the subtitles, because of all that kind of stuff, most people in North America won't ever see it. Now, we can sit back and be elitist, stupid snobs and go, well, then that's their problem. Or you can allow a studio to take a shot at remake it. Will it be as good as the original Raid? Absolutely not. It's going to be as good as the original Raid. But it's kind of like the other thing. Does it have to be as good as the original Raid?
Yes.
No, it doesn't.
I'll argue. I don't think it's being.
It won't matter to somebody who hasn't seen the original Raid in the first place.
But here's the thing: I don't think it's being an elitist snob saying, "Hey, stop having this language barrier. See a foreign film." I think it's like.
I agree with you. I totally agree.
But I don't think it's being an elitist snob. I think it's like asking the audience that exists in America to take more of a chance. And I think with Netflix, especially now, that foreign cinema area lets people not be afraid to check out a foreign film. You see the Raid on there; they're going to watch them. But oh my God, that's going to open up a whole new dimension.
But you know what's going to drive more people to see the original Raid than anything else in the world? A North American remake.
I'm not arguing that.
I mean, because look at what happened with Infernal Affairs, right? Infernal Affairs, greatest cop movie of all time, in my opinion, right? But nobody saw it. What happens when they did a North American remake and they did Departed? All of a sudden, tons of people went out to see the original because of that. Right. You know how many people saw the original Japanese version of The Ring? Almost nobody. They put a North American version and turn a lot of people, wait, there's an original Japanese version? I think if anything, a North American version, whether it turns out to be good or bad, I think nothing will highlight and drive more people to finally check out the original masterpieces than if we had a North American version of it.
Right, but this one just stunk from day one, where if you're remaking a horror movie from Japan or something like that, where you can put a different spin on it, The Raid, it just seems like that was Hollywood taking over, taking a smaller property and being the bully. That's the way that I felt as soon as I heard this story a year ago. And so I like that they're not remaking it. It's cool to have these cult movies that you just hear about and you're like, oh yeah, let me check that out. I think it's awesome to have a movie like The Raid that not everybody has seen, and you don't have to bastardize every property that comes along that's a foreign market. Like, I like having just The Raid and The Raid 2. If you want to do something, make a sequel to The Raid. Just make The Raid 3 and pump more money into it, as opposed to trying to redo something.
They are doing The Raid 3, so they are doing another sequel.
They are doing a third.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad at like them, U.S., if it's Screen Gems or another company, taking The Raid and The Raid 2 and trying to make a hybrid of that. Because basically, like, I wasn't joking when I said
thought about that. That's
Dread is already. I'm not even joking when I say Dread is basically the American Raid. It's the exact same story structure of having to go up this high rise. It's just different action, different tonality. I think if they did a hybrid version of both the Raid and the Raid 2, you're getting the best of both worlds. Get an American audience in there, then they'll be like, hey, if you want to check out the originals, you can check those out. So I don't know.
I think that's a great idea.